like to introduce to you the final project group, Mandatory Fun. They're a fan of fun, and here is their lovely app, Achieve.
Thanks. If you could just go to the first slide, please. Thank you. Hi, I'm Lee, and together with Chris, John, and Harry, we have designed the app Achieve. Achieve is a social goal-making app that allows users to create goals, add their friends, and track each other's progress. We all set goals for ourselves, whether it be improving fitness, working on a new skill, or attempting a new diet. Equally, we sometimes fail to achieve these goals that we set to ourselves due to a lack of motivation, support, and sometimes willpower. Achieve aims to resolve that by utilising human social tendencies to deter that diminishing willpower. If you commit to a goal with your friends and you have the sense of achieving together, you're more likely to maintain that progress towards achieving that goal. And whilst there are currently numerous social media platforms available to us, as well as activity tracking apps, as far as we could tell, there currently isn't a platform where we can create groups with our friends to post updates, encourage each other, and track our progress together. And that's why we made Achieve, and we believe it has the potential to help many people to achieve more together. I'd like to pass you over to John, who's going to give you a little demo of the app. Thank you.
Hi everyone, as Lee said, I'll be running you through our app. You can press play. So we begin our journey on our homepage, which will then navigate you to the first fork in the user journey, split between the new users and the returning users, as you can see here. So we'll go with the journey of the new user first. The app starts by providing a brief description of how it works. You can create a goal, choose a category, invite your friends, post updates, and track your progress. We'll go more into this on the next page. It'll prompt you to enter a username, followed by a password to register. This will then send you to the goal creation page. Here we can select a category. We've got health, fitness, skill, social, and career. For the sake of this app, we've gone with fitness, specifically the activity cycling, with the plan to expand more in the future. So we enter our activity, enter the miles per week, and then submit a completion date. This brings the new user to the final page of their setup journey and greets them with some words of encouragement before navigating them to the goal feed. Now, rather than show you an empty feed, we'll now see from the perspective of a user who's been using the app, in this case, the Achieve team. At the top of the app, we can see the progress towards completion date. We can also see updates and pictures from our friends on the feed, just to keep each other up to date with how everyone's getting on. And this is all fetched from the back end as the app renders. To make a post, we can go to the top right of the app and press the post button. This will toggle a new window. Here we can enter some text, such as, "I think I got lost." Then we can select our photo, enter our miles completed, and submit. This will then update the post to the top of the feed. We can also track everyone's progress on the Progress tab, which is at the bottom right on the navigation bar. Here we will see each other's miles completed, total miles, and also their week streak. Finally, we can post comments on each other's updates to share some words of encouragement and support using the comment icon on the bottom right of the post. As you can see, the guys commented on the post I made earlier during the recording. And that's it for the app demo presentation. I'll pass you over to Chris, who will cover our tech stack. Thank you.
Thank you, John. So, okay, I'm going to talk briefly about our tech stack. And to start with, I'll talk about our backend, where we used Express, Firebase, Firestore, and TypeScript. During the planning phase, it became clear that we had lots of ideas and there was a huge amount of potential for our app to scale. But at the same time, we didn't know what structure our data would take in the future. So we decided we'll go with a non-relational database. And after researching a few options, Firebase suited our needs the most. It's easy to set up and it gives us the flexibility we would require. We also decided to use TypeScript. As you heard, it's got a continuously increasing popularity with tech companies, and its advantages lend themselves really well to group projects. With it being statically typed, it reduces the amount of bugs you're going to have in your code, and the readability is a great benefit to have when you've got multiple people using the same code base. For our front-end framework, we went with Svelte Native. During the tech spiking phase, we did a lot of research into Svelte, and we really enjoyed the features it provided. Stuff like the way it managed states, the readability of the code is really clear. Some of the syntactic sugar it provided, like its conditional rendering, was really fun to use. So yeah, sorry. The next, but yes, in the planning phase, as we fleshed out the idea of an app, it became clear that it wouldn't be a web app and much more suited a mobile app. So the logical step was to try Svelte Native, as this would allow us to benefit from the features offered by Svelte, but it also provided us with the component library of NativeScript, so we could develop our app for mobile. And yeah, that's a brief overview of our tech. I'll now hand you over to Harry, who will talk about some of the challenges we faced and what we have learned during our project.
Thank you very much, Chris. So apart from the usual issues and one incident where I may have nearly deleted the whole project yesterday, we worked through some quite big challenges across our entire project. At some points, the only solace we could find was having dependable teammates. Thankfully, our efficient early stage planning meant that we had a slight head start on our tech spiking. However, things weren't as plain sailing as they may have seemed. Up until now on the course, we've only had to make web applications, and we've been used to the responsiveness of the browser when we've been making changes. So one of the biggest setbacks was the lack of predictability in NativeScript and the way that our Svelte Native compiles. This meant that it often took far longer than it should have done to make the simplest changes to our layout. Along the way, we found out the order in which we built our app was also quite important. Whilst we had our navigation nailed down in day 2, we should have set up our user authentication at the start as well. But by the time we'd reached that, we decided to prioritize other things like the functionality and feel of our app. But having that authentication set up and working would have influenced a lot of where we could have been by that point. One of our key decision points during the project was when we reached a fork in the road between creating a PWA and a native app. We decided we'd like the ability to implement push notifications when we wanted to. However, by the end of this project, it's a feature that we quite didn't get around to adding in. So it's definitely something that we'd want to put into Achieve 2.0. By far, though, our biggest lesson learned is around how valuable properly documented and supported tech is. A variety of reasons, such as the lack of support for Svelte Native and the lack of component libraries that actually reliably work, meant that we had to custom create many of our components, which took a great deal of our time up. For example, one of the features we wanted to focus on as being real key for us was our progress page. We'd intended to include graphs and charts as our backend was prepared to provide such information. However, because of the lack of support for one of the NativeScript plugins, we found it just impossible to implement what we really wanted to in this relatively new Svelte Native environment. Instead, we had to program our own basic progress bar, write functions ourselves that adjust column width dynamically, as well as the nuances between Svelte Native and NativeScript, as opposed to, say, something like the really well-supported React Native. It's safe to say that if we were to build an Achieve Mark II, it'd be built very differently from our Mark I, and of course, with a little extra time thrown in, really wouldn't hurt. This was a very good lesson in project management. I feel fortunate to have been paired with some very capable and brilliant developers. Now we've finished the project and have had some time to reflect on our past 2 weeks together. We feel it's really highlighted the reason why we made the app. Doing difficult things on your own is a lot harder than when you have a great team to collaborate with. So thank you very much for your time and for listening to our presentation. We hope you enjoyed hearing about our app. We welcome any questions.